Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight in our little conspiracy theory show. My name is Bad Cookies. I am an expert in causing trouble. Sadly, my co-host can't be here today, but it's okay. We all miss him. Hopefully, one day he comes back, but until then, I'll hold the ship down. This is my first solo show, so it's going to be quite a short one. I don't have the other half there to fill up the other segment of the show. So what I want to do tonight is I want to say hello to everyone here. Let me say hello to everyone in the chat that I can see here. Hey, Sean, how you doing tonight? Jacqueline, Mom, how you doing? Dr. Nick, good to see you, sir. And KYE, you're the man. Good to see you. It's good to see all of you guys. And thank you for joining me tonight. I know I didn't advertise it very much, but thanks for joining me. And before we get started, I want to first make this quick announcement. This program is a fictional portrayal of a single knucklehead who is pretending to be a conspiracy expert. This podcast in no way should be considered informational and is for entertainment purposes only. All right. What I want to do is also ask you guys to please share, like, and subscribe. Trying to keep the show going until my co-host is back. So let's keep the train running, right? Please join us here every Wednesday from 6 p.m. Pacific to 9 p.m. Eastern. As far as I know, I'm going to continue doing it every week. If I do get a little burnout, it might become every other week, but for now, it's going to be from 6 to 9. And for tonight's show, what I want to discuss with you guys is weather seeding. Now, what is weather seeding? The reason I wanted to discuss weather seeding is because of the hurricanes that just happened in the southeast of the United States. You know, it's a really sad situation what's going on with them. A lot of them had their whole lives destroyed. A lot of them don't have anything going on that can help them survive in this time of need. And all our government's doing for them is handing them $750 and saying, hey, good luck to you. And because of these storms were very strange, very unusual. A lot of conspiracies came out of this storm theory where even the news started talking about it, where they're talking about, oh, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists think that you can steer hurricanes. Oh, you can steer these hurricanes. And they're trying to already paint people as conspiracy theories. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. So what I wanted to do first is get a very top level, like layman's view of what happens when when they're looking for chemtrails or weather seeding or geoengineering, what most people won't do is they won't look further into anything beyond what solidifies their opinion. And what I want to do now is I want to start where someone who has no idea of what it means would start. Then I'd like to go into a little deeper level of why people believe these conspiracy theories. And then I'd like to finish off by describing how it's all in the nomenclature of the things that they're saying. When I get to the end, this will all make sense. So what I want to start with is, well, what does most people think? What do most people think about when it comes to geoengineering? And the first thing that comes to most people's minds is chemtrails. The first thing most people are going to do, most Americans are lazy. Let's face it, it's true. The first thing they're going to do is Google what is a chemtrail. Chemtrails, Google. It's going to take them right away to Wikipedia. So I decided, hey, let's take a look at chemtrail. What does chemtrails say on Wikipedia? And the very, very first thing that they say is chemtrail conspiracy theory. This is Wikipedia. Like, also take it with a grain of salt. If you're new to the game and you don't know, the government likes to use Wikipedia to seed information that they want you to believe, and they make it as factual. Even though they tell you don't take Wikipedia as factual, they will seed information there so they can seed whatever they want you to believe. And it might even be non-factual. You can even call it fake news or misinformation. They're good at it. They know how to do it and get away with it. So just take Wikipedia as it is. So if you want to read along and you're at home, just Google Wikipedia chemtrail and you'll find it. It's the first thing that'll pop up. Now, when you read through this, the very first thing that it gives you is the history of it. And what I found interesting about that, if you go and read this article, it says, chemtrail conspiracy theories began to circulate after the United States Air Force published a 1996 report about weather modification. In the late 1990s, the United States Air Force was accused of spraying the US population with mysterious substances from aircraft, generating unusual chemtrail patterns. The theories were posted on the internet forums by people including Richard Finke and William Thomas, and were among many conspiracy theories popularized by late-night radio host Art Bell, starting in 1999. How many of you remember Art Bell? I see you in the chat, John Kemper. How you doing, man? And another thing that interested me about that was that, so the U.S. Air Force released an updated fact sheet that stated the conspiracy theories were a hoax, fueled in part by citations in a 1996 strategy paper drafted within the Air University titled Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. The paper was presented in response to a military directive to outline a future strategic weather modification system for the purpose of maintaining the United States military dominance in the year 2025, and identified as fictional representations of future situation scenarios. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when the government funds these think tank operations, they don't do it just to waste. Well, sometimes they do it just to waste the money so they can launder that money. But most of the time, they want that money back somehow. So if you read through this, it's a long article about this, but I want to highlight certain things that I want to bring to light to you guys. So the main thing is that when you're reading through this, keep in mind that this is all set up to paint certain people that believe in chemtrails as conspiracy theorists and psychos, and you shouldn't trust what they say. Now, in this section, it'll be in the beliefs section, starting in the second paragraph. It states, a 2014 review of 20 chemtrail websites found that believers appeal to science in some of their arguments, but do not believe what academic or government-employed scientists say. Scientists and federal agencies have consistently denied that chemtrails exist, explaining the sky tracks are simply persistent contrails. The review also found, that word contrails, keep in mind at the beginning of the show I said it's all in the verbiage that they use and the way they use it. Contrails is one of them. Pay attention to that one. So the review also found that believers generally hold that chemtrails are evidence of global conspiracy. They allege various goals, which include profit, for example, manipulating future prices or making people sick to the benefit of drug companies, population control, or weapons testing, use of weather as a weapon, or testing bioweapons. One of these ideas is that clouds are being seeded with electrically conductive materials as part of a massive electromagnetic superweapons program based around the high efficiency frequency active auroral research program. HARP, if you guys are not familiar with that. If you're not familiar with that, let me know later on in the show. Put it in the comment section if you guys want a deeper dive into what HARP is, because that's something that deserves its own show, and it's very deep about what HARP actually is. But let's get back to this article. Believers say chemtrails are toxic. The 2014 review found that they generally hold that every person is under attack and often expresses fear, anxiety, sadness, anger about this whole situation. A 2011 study of people from the US, Canada, and the UK found that 2.6% of the sample believed entirely of the conspiracy theory, and 14 believed it partially. An analysis of responses given to the 2016 Cooperative Congressional Election Study showed that 9% of the 36,000 respondents believed it was completely true that government has a secret program that uses airplanes to put harmful chemicals into the air, while a further 19 believed this was somewhat true. Now, this is the part that I want to highlight, because this is where they twist it on you and make you look like you're a psychopath. They already are they set the groundwork in the previous paragraph to make anything that would even question the programming of that as someone who should not be trusted, because they're already laying it all out as you're a conspiracy theorist. And this is where they solidify it. So I wanted people to pay attention to this part. Chemtrail conspiracy theorists often describe their experience as being akin to a religious conversation experience. So they are trying to tie conspiracy theorists of this particular conspiracy into religious fanatics or zealots. That way they can make you look like you're more committed to something that's like just a simple belief that you have, and they're tying you to zealots is basically what I'm trying to say, so they can give you that bad guy influence. When they quote unquote wake up and become quote unquote aware of chemtrails, the experience motivates them to advocacy of various forms. For example, they often attend events and conferences on geoengineering and have sent threats to academics working in geoengineering. That is what I wanted to point out in that segment of Wikipedia, because in Wikipedia, like I said before, this is the first source every modern American is going to go to. People that aren't questioning of their government or what they're doing are not going to care what anyone else has to say. They're just going to go with what it is. The first thing they find, it's the quickest response. Find the first thing and go with it. You know, that's what most Americans are going to do. Let's be honest. A lot of us do it in our own lives when we're just Googling things that we want to find solutions or answers to. It happens, you know, and this is the first thing that they're going to read, and they get mentally conditioned to make anyone who's questioning this to seem like you're a conspiracy nut, that you're crazy. When we'll get to that in a minute. But this is such a poignant article about how it was effective that even some politicians got involved in it. As in 2001, in response to requests from constituents, and this is from the Wikipedia article, mind you, U.S. Representative Dennis Kucinich introduced but did not author H.R. 2977, the Space Preservation Act of 2001, which would have permanently prohibited basing weapons in space, listing chemtrails as one of the number of exotic weapons that would be banned. Proponents have interpreted this explicit reference to chemtrails, and that's the key word there. Proponents have interpreted this explicit reference to chemtrails as official government acknowledgement of its existence. Now, that's the whole thing they did there. What they did to Dennis Kucinich after that is the bill received an unfavorable evaluation from the United States Department of Defense, and it died in committee. Gee, I wonder why. And then after that, with no mention of chemtrails appearing in the text of any of Kucinich's 3 subsequent failed attempts to enact a Space Preservation Act. So Dennis Kucinich tried 4 times overall, and each time they told him no, because he had that explicit verbiage in there. They don't want to acknowledge it as chemtrails. They just don't. What they do is whenever anyone questions weather engineering using chemtrails, what they'll do is they'll say, "You're a conspiracy theorist. Modern science has debunked chemtrails multiple times as contrails, water vapor that comes off of the exhaust of the aircraft." Now, keep in mind, this is what the scientific community says. In Wikipedia, they actually have that. They go into contrails. Contrails, or condensation trails, are streaks of condensed water vapor created in air by an airplane or rocket at high altitudes. Fossil fuel combustion, blah, 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 whatever. What they're trying to say is the exhaust of the aircraft is so hot in a very cold and moist temperature that when it flies by, it creates vapor, and that vapor sits in the air. But then they go on to tell you that vapor eventually evaporates and spreads out, and it's gone in like 15 to 20 minutes. And then they further go on to say that people will mention that the chemtrails stay around in the air for a long time, and they want to know about those chemtrails, why those stay along in the air for a long time, right? Then they start calling you a crazy person, that chemtrails don't exist. But the thing is, they're not talking about chemtrails. That's where the government, I want to call it the government because I think it's the government doing it. It's my own conspiratorial mind that's thinking that the government is doing it. But they're using a different term. They're using chemtrails, and anyone that believes in the science of chemtrails and how chemtrails work, they label you as a conspiracy theorist that of the equivalent of zealots. Let's call them Israeli type, right? So those kind of zealots, they'll sit there and they have a murderous belief so strong that they will genocide an entire people, right? Those kind of zealots, they're trying to compare you to them so that they can discredit you and people won't have to say anything about you. But what it really is they twisted that verbiage, and it's not about chemtrails, people. The actual verbiage that we should be discussing is cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is different than chemtrails. Cloud seeding has actually been acknowledged by the government and multiple news outlets as actually existing. In fact, you can go and Google. Actually, hold on. I'll bring it up right now because I have the video right here. This is a video describing to you what chemtrails really are. Or not chemtrails, cloud seeding.
It's not as if you guys are creating clouds out of nowhere. You actually target storm systems.
If there's no clouds in the sky that have any moisture in them, then we can't do anything. What we can do is tap into what's there and assist Mother Nature.
Kind of like a steroid kick for the clouds or something.
Exactly.
In all of its forms, water powers our very existence. A droplet's epic journey from sky to seed is an elegant loop that sustains all life on this planet. But today, about 1 billion people are living in water-scarce areas. In the United States, there's California, where in one single year, a historic drought cost the state over 10,000 jobs and nearly $2 billion in lost revenue. The effects of climate change and the strain of an ever-growing population have combined to disrupt global water supplies. But what if we could hack into the water cycle and unlock more precious water from the clouds? A decades-old technology, long shunned by science, may hold the key.
Since the 1946 experiments of Dr. Vincent Schaefer, we have known that some clouds can be modified through seeding to yield additional precipitation.
All right, sorry, I can't take any more of that propaganda, man. That's junk. So basically, like I said, you can find it if you're looking for it. They actually acknowledge it. This is cloud seeding. The difference between cloud seeding and chemtrails is that it doesn't go as high into the atmosphere as it would with chemtrails because you're not going that high. this is where all of the things that people mistake chemtrails to be actually taking place. When you see those large clouds that are just thick and stay in the air, those are actually still aircraft. Like, you can still use jet aircraft and jump like 757s. They'll just fly a little bit lower. They'll fly closer to the ground, and you'll see them. That's why you're able to see them. If not, aircraft are so high up in the air that you can't see them. But sometimes you'll see them flying low, and you'll be like, "Oh, look at those are contrails." The nifty word of contrails. But you never really know what they're putting in the air up there. So what I want to make a point of is that people start understanding what, oh great, I lost my article. What contrails really are. Oh, here we are. Sorry about that, folks. I lost my article. That's why I should have not broken my other screen. Environmental health impacts are considered minimal due to the low concentrations of substances used. Now, this is all about cloud seeding. Again, we're going to go to Wikipedia because this is what people will look at when they first start Googling cloud seeding. So what they say is, if you want to follow it along, go to Wikipedia, type in cloud seeding. It's going to be right there. It's the first thing that they want to program you with. So cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that aims to change the amount or type of precipitation, mitigate hail, or disperse fog. The usual objective is to increase rain or snow, either for its own sake or to prevent precipitation from occurring in days afterwards. Now, keep this in mind, folks. You can go deeper into this article yourself. I want to highlight just a couple things on here. The first thing I want to do is highlight the fourth paragraph right from the start. It says environmental and health impacts are considered minimal due to the low concentrations of substances used, but concerns persist over the potential accumulation of seeding agents in sensitive ecosystems. The practice has a long history, with initial experiments dating back to the 1940s, and has been used for various purposes, including agricultural benefits, water supply augmentation, that's a big one there, and event planning. Event planning. What does that mean to you guys? To me, when it says event planning, they plan an event. Like, they'll plan a water slide by making too much rainfall in an area where it's likely to have a landslide and cause a lot of damage. Or they know a certain weather is coming in a certain direction, right? Keep in mind, what people want you to believe in the media is that you're a conspiracy theorist and you cannot steer hurricanes, you psychopath. Believe in science. You can't steer hurricanes, you fool. But even science admits that they can augment a hurricane. You can augment a hurricane by flying above it just close enough to cloud seed it. And if you know it's heading in a certain direction, you can cloud seed it to become maybe a little bit more hazardous. That's my conspiracy theorist. And if you go through the Wikipedia one, it actually debunks it because it says you can't produce that much augmentation of rain. I don't really know that. I don't know the science behind it. I'll be honest with you. But what I believe is that they cannot steer a bloody hurricane, but they can seed one and make it worse and make it damageable. Even this article in Wikipedia that's very vague, they'll tell you they can make event planning. So how hard would it be for them to turn a Category 2, Category 3 hurricane to a Category 5? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. If you are out there, debunk me. Let me know. All right, people, that was pretty much my show for today. I'm going to open it up to the audience. I'm reading the comments here, and I'll read some back here. Mom, thank you very much. Love you very much, too. John Kemper, I'm assuming you mean about the low amounts of chemicals that they use and the low impact that it has. That's what the science they say that they use. I'm saying that there's certain verbiages that they'll say and tiptoe around it because they don't want cloud seeding to become what chemtrails are. I see Cobra Commander here. Heavy metals, bio-waste, petroleum garbage, you name it. They put it in our medicine, food, clothes, because profit. Indeed, man. Everything is all about profit, dude. If they could charge us for air, believe you me, they would. We would be sitting there like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger asking Cohagen for air. Give him the air, Cohagen. You know, we'd be sitting there doing that because they would charge us for the air. That's capitalism for us. All right. You guys are busy here. All right, we'll go to some recent comments. If you guys have any questions or anything you want me to answer, just put it in the comment section. We'll answer a few, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Right here, this is a good comment by John Kemper. See it enough to grab your land while you're floating away. Exactly, man. I don't know anything about the space lasers. I never looked into that. That would be another conspiracy theory I'd like to look into. Because Lahaina was pretty much a funny story like that too, where all of their land was taken. They gave them chump change, said, "Good luck, chumps." The insurance, I'm positive, didn't cover it. They probably called it an act of God and left them to their misery. So they'll take whatever offer they can be given. And what's the first thing any real estate tycoon conglomerate's going to do? They're going to come in there and promise them and lowball them some money, but they'll take it. Why? Because they're desperate. Their whole lives have just been taken. Look at the people in North Carolina, Florida, all in the southeast of the United States. They're suffering the same way, man. Even if it's not geoengineering, if you don't believe in that, if you don't believe in cloud seeding, you don't believe in any of that, regardless of all of that, people in the southeast of the United States are suffering. And it's not cool that we as the United States aren't doing more for them than we could, you know. And hopefully you guys know some folks out there, reach out to them, let them know that you're thinking about them and care about them as well. If you can reach them. I know a lot of them still don't even have water yet, and that's a real bummer, man. Here's one from Snork real quick. Space lasers completely worthless compared to ground-based systems. You'll have to give me a chat on that one sometime, Snork, about that, man. I'm sure you know more about that than I do, but I'm telling you, it'd be an interesting topic to discuss. Here's one by Sean. Radiological, meaning radioactive or expanding in a circle. Sorry, I'm uneducated but want to learn. If it's radiological, when it radiates, it doesn't necessarily mean any specific direction. It's complete radiation. So you're lobing out a specific frequency. So it can be expanded in a circle, or you can actually have it be in one direction. But radioactivity comes after a certain frequency, which I believe is in like the 7th to 8th frequency. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. You can look at the frequency spectrum, and certain points you'll get to a radioactive one. I know gamma is like on the far end of I think it is the far end of the radiation spectrum. But that's what radiation is. It's radiating in all directions. I don't know. I sound like an asshole. I'm sorry, man. Let's see this one by Cobra Commander. You can buy a fire-starting laser off Temu. Not joking. But I honestly believe Hawaii was due to crumbling infrastructure. That could very well be too, man. Yeah, but who would be to blame for that? Wouldn't it still be the state because they didn't invest in that infrastructure, let it crumble to a point where everyone's houses was fucking destroyed? I mean, it's fucked up, man. Imagine the way I like to look at it is, I guess I'm too much of a compassionate pussy, and I think of myself as, what would I do in their situation, man? My whole fucking life has just burned down or has been flooded away, has been fucking rained away, and I got nothing. I got nobody to help me. I got nothing. Here's $700. What the fuck am I gonna do with this, man? You know, I put myself in their situation and I feel bad for them. So hopefully I didn't depress all of you guys. Like I said, it was going to be a real quick, short show. I don't have my other half. I'll have to get accustomed to making a full-length show here, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself and I didn't come off too much like a fucking nut or too much of an asshole. Hope you guys had a good time. I'll see you guys in the chats. Please hit the like button if you haven't. Share and subscribe if you like my insanity. I'll be here every Wednesday talking to the air. It'll be entertaining. And I want to thank everyone that joined us today. Snork, thank you for coming. Sean, Jacqueline, Mom, thank you so much. Cobra Commander. You know, everyone that's here. John Kemper, I already said hi to Sean. If I missed you, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to miss you. Cheryl Smith, Better Mom Hour. Love you very much. Mastermind, if you're in the chat, man, I love you very much too, man. So hope you guys had a good time. I don't have an outro. I'm not very professional at this. I still have some work to do on the production side. But once I get everything down, hopefully you guys get a better produced show and you have a better time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night, all right?